So good morning once again, dear students of class 9 and also the students of class 10 who are revising for their board examinations. Today we are going to discuss all that happens in Act 2, Scene 6 of The Merchant of Venice. So on your screen, you can see first there is an introduction to this scene. I am reading out, you may please follow from your textbook. This scene takes place outside Shylock's house. Jessica, disguised as a boy, elopes with Lorenzo, taking some of Shylock's possessions. Now, in the thumbnail of this video, you will see that there is an illustration where from one of the balconies of Shylock's house, Jessica is seen handing a big box over to a young man standing in the street below. He is none other than Lorenzo, the Christian lover of Shylock's daughter, Jessica. Now, that particular moment where she gives a box full of jewelry and other valuables, hands it over to Lorenzo before she comes down from the first floor of the house and then opens the door and out into the street. And she is disguised as a torchbearer or a page. Generally, a servant boy was called a page in those times, and she is dressed like a page or a torchbearer for Lorenzo. That is the disguise she takes in order to elope with the man she loves. Now, we already saw how in the previous scene, Jessica was doing this soliloquy, talking to herself at the end of the scene that she is going to leave her father's house forever. And we also know from the words of Lancelot Gobbo, telling Jessica secretly that there will be a mask, and if she keeps her eyes open, she will be able to see her Christian lover Lorenzo. So now that very scene has come up where we are going to see what exactly happens. She is quite ashamed of her boy's disguise and of her thievery. She has stolen valuables from her father. She is ashamed of that. She is also ashamed of the fact that she is wearing the dress of a boy. Now, remember, wearing the dress of a boy in the present 21st century is no big deal for any girl. But in those days, in Shakespeare's days, things were different. The society was very conservative, and women had to wear dresses, several layers of dresses, in fact, to cover themselves up so that no part of their body would be or should be visible except the face and maybe the hands. So that's the reason Jessica feels ashamed, because a page boy's dress is generally something like shorts and a top. And she feels very ashamed because of the fact that her legs are exposed. So this is in keeping with the culture and the tradition, the orthodox conservative lifestyle of England in those times. Anyway, so Jessica is ashamed of that for that reason, and also for the reason that she has stolen valuables from her father's locker or father's almirah, cupboard, wherever he used to keep his valuables. She has stolen, so she feels very upset about that. At the end of the scene, Antonio informs Graciano of the winds favorable for sail and of Bassanio's departure to Belmont before the scheduled hour. So you see, the mask was planned, but the mask could not be held. So the purpose behind Jessica dressing up as a servant boy is not really served, in the sense that she does not really have to become the torchbearer of Lorenzo, because there is no mask. But she elopes all the same, and she elopes in that dress with Lorenzo. So that part of the story is, of course, successful. Now remember, this is an important subplot of the play. There are basically three romantic subplots in this play. The first romantic subplot is, of course, the romance between Bassanio and Portia. The second romantic subplot is, of course, which you will come across when Bassanio reaches Belmont. So that will be the second romantic subplot, or maybe the third, because it has not yet come up. And then you have this romantic subplot, the elopement of Jessica with Lorenzo, Jessica Shylock's daughter. So now the scene emphasizes the mutual desires of Jessica and Lorenzo, which bridge religious and cultural differences. So it is something which was not even imaginable in those days, because, as I told you, the society was so rigid, so conservative, that a Jewish girl running away from home with her Christian lover was next to impossible, and that is what was happening. So it was really a revolting situation for the audience of the Shakespearean era. Anyway, now let's begin with the scene. Scene 6, Venice, before Shylock's house. Enter Gratiano and Salarino, masked. Meaning to say, they are already dressed up, wearing the costume for the mask. Who are they? One is Gratiano and the other is Salarino. So you can see that these two are friends of Lorenzo. They are the common friends of Lorenzo and Bassanio. And they are here to join the mask, to build up a crowd outside Shylock's house, and then Jessica will slip out quietly and join them, because Lorenzo will be there. Now these two men are waiting for Lorenzo's arrival. Now Gratiano says, this is the penthouse under which Lorenzo desired us to make stand. This is the house with the projecting roof, which is forming a kind of overhead shelter. So this is where Lorenzo told us to wait for him. Salarino says, his hour is almost past. His hour is almost gone. He gave us the time, we are on time, but he is late. So the time that he gave us, he is not keeping or maintaining that particular time. So his hour is almost past. Now we move on to page 66. Gratiano says, and it is marvel he outdwells his hour, and it is really surprising that he should not come at the time which has been appointed or which has been decided upon. For lovers ever run before the clock. Explanation is given alongside, you can see, because lovers always come before the time fixed by them. So he should have been here. And when somebody is freshly or newly in love, he is always before time to keep an appointment. And here we see a complete alteration of that idea, because Lorenzo is late. Salarino says, oh, 10 times faster Venus's pigeons fly to seal love's bonds new made than they are wont to keep obliged faith unforfeited. Once again, entire explanation is given here, so I am not explaining. I can just read out from here and you can just follow. Venus is the classical goddess of love, and it is believed that she rode a chariot drawn by pigeons or doves. Now, doves of Venus or pigeons of Venus are quick to seal the promises made by new lovers. Lovers are always in a greater hurry. This means that lovers are always in a greater hurry to keep a new engagement than they are to keep their marriage promises unbroken. So you see, when love is new, lovers are very keen on keeping their promises about meeting each other. But once they are married, after that, during marriage, the lovers have to take vows of being faithful to each other and always being with each other through thick and thin and through the ups and downs of life. So once married, then the keeping of those vows or keeping of those promises becomes secondary for the lovers. But when they are freshly in love, they are not generally found to be late in keeping their appointed time. So that is what Salarino tries to mean here. So there is the reference of Venus. Venus is the classical goddess of love and also the goddess of purity and beauty. So Gratiano says, that ever holds. Yes, what you are saying is really true. Who riseth from a feast with that keen appetite that he sits down? Because who leaves a banquet? Banquet is a feast, okay? So who leaves a party where lots of good food has been served with the same appetite as that with which he came to it? See, when you go to attend a feast, you are so eager to go there and enjoy the feast, eat the food, the different delicacies, the different dishes that have been served. But once you have had your quota of the food, once your stomach is full, do you then have the same feeling of enjoying the food which has been served at the feast? Definitely not. Because by then you have already enjoyed it and your stomach is full. So that is what Graciano means about lovers, that lovers are like those who are going to attend a feast. But once that feast is enjoyed, after that, you don't have that kind of appetite anymore. So the eagerness of being with each other can be seen more in new lovers than in the ones who are already married. So that is what Graciano is trying to hint at by giving the example of the feast. He gives the second example after this. He says, where is the horse that doth untread again his tedious measures with the unbaited fire that he did pace them first? Now think about a horse. When the horse is asked to do or perform the same exercise of trotting, galloping, and jumping over fences, once it has already done everything, if the horse is again asked to perform or do the same task or give the same performance, will it be able to give the same task and performance? Or even if it does, will it show that much of eagerness to do it all over again? Definitely not. So, when anything is fresh, when anything is being done the first time, it is done with a lot of enthusiasm. But when you do it the second time or the third time, or when you are asked to do it several times after that, then it becomes monotonous and you lose interest. So that is what Graciano hints at by giving this second example. And then he says, all things that are with more spirit chased than enjoyed. Meaning to say that anything you want to chase after, to acquire, is more interesting than what happens after you acquire it. So chasing after something, chasing after some kind of prize is always more exciting or more enthusiastic than what happens after you achieve it. So all things, here the meaning is also explained. You can see lines 11 to 14. All things that exist are more enjoyed in the course of their attainment than in the attainment itself. So this may sound a little confusing. Simple meaning is that when you are trying to achieve something and chasing after it, it's all the more exciting at that time. But once you achieve it, after that, it loses its attraction, and you don't feel like chasing after it any further because you have already obtained it. So that is what Graciano means to say. And then he says, how like a yonker or a prodigal the scarfed bark puts from her native bay, hugged and embraced by the wanton wind. How like a prodigal doth she return, with over-weathered ribs and ragged sails, lean, rent and beggared by the wanton wind. He gives another example. This is the third example. He says, or rather you may consider this as the fourth instance. But example-wise, it is the third example. He says, think about a ship. When it is preparing for a voyage and it is standing at the harbor or the port, it is all fresh and bright. And then it begins its journey. And after many months, when it returns, after having faced the different bad weather conditions in the sea, in the different seas, and passing through lot of turmoil, finally when the bark means ship, when it returns to its home port, does it look as fresh as it had when it started its journey? Definitely not. Then it looks so very ragged, so very weathered, and its sails are torn, and it looks lean and rent and beggared because it has been buffeted by strong winds and storms in the sea for several months before it has returned to its home port. So, a yonker is a young man. In some editions, it is a younger or a younger son, such as the prodigal son in the parable of the Bible. Scarfed bark refers to ship decorated with flags and bunting. Puts up to bay, sail out from her home port. Wanton means uncontrolled. In some texts, the expression a strumpet wind is used. Here, the wind is compared to an unfaithful woman because it changes so easily. Reference is to the prodigal son who wasted his money on bad women. The unrestrained winds. And overweathered ribs means storm-beaten sides. Ragged sails means tattered sails. Rent means torn, and beggared means impoverished. So all the meanings are provided. While reading the text, the actual text always refer to the meanings which are explained alongside. So when these two friends are discussing, suddenly they see Lorenzo approaching, and so Salarino comments, "Here comes Lorenzo." More of this hereafter. Here comes Lorenzo. We'll discuss about this or talk about this afterwards. Now let's get to business. Now we move to page 67, Act 2, Scene 6, as you can see in your textbook. And enter Lorenzo. And Lorenzo says, "Sweet friends, your patience for my long abode. I have delayed, I have been late, and you have shown patience. I am really thankful that you have shown patience while waiting for me for so long. Not I, but my affairs have made you wait." So as usual, as always, a person gives an excuse for coming late. He says that it was not because I was late, but I had the work which I had to complete and come, so much of work that I got late. So you can blame the work which I had in hand, different tasks which I had to undertake and complete before I could come here. So it's not my fault really. It's all because of that. "When you shall please to play the thieves for wives, I'll watch as long for you then." And then he says, when the two of you decide to steal your wives, just like I am today planning to steal my wife from her father's house. In future, if you plan to elope with some girls of your choice, I will also wait for you in the same manner. So that will justify your waiting for me for so long. So he says that in future, when you plan to elope, when you too go stealing a wife, then I shall wait just as long for you, he says. "Approach, here dwells my father Jew." Now let's move forward, come along. "This is the house where my father-in-law, Shylock the Jew, lives. Ho, who's within?" And he gives a call from outside. Ho, who's within? Enter Jessica above in boy's clothes. Now Jessica immediately appears in the balcony up above. They are in the street and they look up, and Jessica is standing there. She is wearing the clothes of a servant boy. "Jessica, who are you? Tell me for more certainty. Albeit I'll swear that I do know your tongue. Who are you? Please tell me so that I can be certain." I can, of course, say with certainty that I know the voice. Of course, she knows Lorenzo's voice, but she wants to be sure, and that's why she's asking Lorenzo to identify himself. And Lorenzo says, "Lorenzo and thy love. I am Lorenzo and your lover." Jessica says, "Lorenzo, certain, and my love, indeed. Yes, now I am certain that you are Lorenzo and my love indeed. You are my love indeed. For who love I so much? Because is there anyone else in the world I love so much as I do, as I love you? And now, who knows but you, Lorenzo, whether I am yours?" So, and who else in this world knows better than the fact that I am all yours? Lorenzo says, "Heaven and thy thoughts are witness that thou art." Heaven is witness to this fact that you are mine, and your thoughts also know that you are mine. Jessica says. So this is love talk going on between two lovers. The other two friends are getting bored. Anyway, Jessica says, here, catch this casket. It is worth the pains. I'm glad this night you do not look on me. Here, hold this box. It is worth taking the trouble of catching this box when I throw it down from the balcony up. So she throws down a box or hands over a box. And then she says, I am very happy that it is night. I am very happy that it's night and therefore there is darkness, so that you cannot see how I am dressed. I don't want that you should see me in these clothes, for I am much ashamed of my exchange, because I am really ashamed of the dress I am wearing, the clothes I am wearing. Exchange means change of clothes. But love is blind, and lovers cannot see the pretty follies that themselves commit. But then love is said to be blind, and so lovers always do foolish things. And I have also done something very foolish. I have removed my clothes and I have worn the clothes of a boy. And that is what is foolishness, because I shouldn't be wearing the clothes of a boy. But then lovers do all sorts of foolish things, and I have also done something like that. For if they could, Cupid himself would blush to see me thus transformed to a boy. So lovers don't realize that they do foolish things, because if they could realize that they have done something really very foolish, then even Cupid, the god of love, would have felt ashamed to see me in such clothes. I am completely transformed into a boy. So, transformed into a boy in the sense that she is dressed as a boy. The meanings are explained alongside. So then Lorenzo says, descend, for you must be my torch bearer. Come downstairs. Now don't talk to me from the balcony above. Come down and join me, because you have to be my torch bearer. Jessica says, what? Must I hold a candle to my shames? What do you expect? That I should come down and I should be your torch bearer in these clothes? If I hold a burning flame in my hand, then I'll be completely visible to everyone. What will people think of me? And besides, I'll feel so ashamed revealing myself in this manner. You want me to hold a candle to my shames? Meaning to say, you want me to hold this burning flame to reveal that I am dressed like this and put myself into shame? They in themselves, good sooth, are too light, too light. So what Jessica means by the word light, there are two meanings. They in themselves, already my clothes are such that they are too obvious. Too obvious. And she also means by light behavior. Jessica is ashamed of being dressed as a boy. So this is what she's saying. Now we move to page 68, and she continues, why, 'tis an offense, office of discovery, love, and I should be obscured. Why, it is a duty to light up and reveal things, office of discovery. If I hold a torch, then it is my job as a torch bearer to light up everything. But then I should not be revealed. In fact, I should be concealed. Nobody should see me. If I hold a torch, then everybody will know I am Jessica, wearing the clothes of a man, wearing the clothes of a servant boy. Whereas I should be hidden. I should be concealed, so that I can do my getaway without anybody noticing me. So I should be obscured instead of revealing myself. Lorenzo says, so are you sweet, even in the lovely garnish of a boy. Don't worry. Even if you are wearing this lovely dress of a page boy, you are not revealing yourself. In fact, you have obscured yourself. You have actually disguised yourself, and therefore nobody will know that it is you. Because nobody will expect Jessica to be dressed like this, and they won't know who you are really, because you are dressed as a boy and you look like a boy. So don't worry, but come at once, for the close night doth play the runaway. Don't worry at all, just come downstairs quickly, because the night is passing away very fast and we don't have much time to lose. Before the darkness of the night disappears, before it starts growing bright before the morning dawns, we must get away from here. And we are stayed for at Bassanio's feast, and we are expected at Bassanio's place for the feast. So come and join me quickly. Let's not waste any more time. Jessica says, I'll make fast the doors and gild myself with some more ducats and be with you straight. I'll quickly lock all the doors of this house and I will put some more coins, money, ducats in my pocket before I join you. So just give me a little more time. I'll just close all the doors and windows and I'll take some more money from my father's locker and then I'll join you. Saying this, she exits above. She exits from the balcony above. So there is some time before Jessica comes and joins Lorenzo and Graciano and Salarino downstairs. Before that, these friends talk. Graciano says, now by my hood, a Gentile and no Jew. Now I can swear upon my word. So Graciano's masking clothes include a hood. This seems to be a case of swearing by his hood. Elizabethans would swear by various parts of their dress. So in those times it was a custom. So by my hood, she is a Gentile, meaning to say she is a gentle lady, and Gentile means she is not a Jew. So she is not a Jew at all. She is very gentle and she is not a Jew. Lorenzo says, beshrew me, but I love her heartily. Curse me if you like. It's a very mild oath to indicate declaration of intense love. And he says, curse me if you want, but I love her with all my heart. For she is wise if I can judge of her. If I am able to judge her properly, then I must say she is a very wise woman. And fair she is. She is also a very fair woman. Fair in the sense, both in terms of fairness as well in terms of beauty. So she is very fair or just, and she is also very beautiful. If my eyes can see properly, then I must say she is also very beautiful. And true she is, as she hath proved herself, and she is true to her words, just as she has proved herself here now. We have seen how she has got ready to leave her father's house and is soon going to join me. And therefore, like herself, wise, fair and true, shall she be placed in my constant soul. So I will always constantly love her with these feelings in my soul, in my heart, that she is wise, she is fair, and she is true. She'll always be like that in my heart. I will always consider her to be these three things in as far as her qualities are concerned. Enter Jessica below. So while Lorenzo is praising Jessica, Jessica has finished her work and she has taken some more money from her father. And of course, father is not at home, but she has stolen, in a way you can say. And now she has joined Lorenzo down below. What, art thou come? Oh, gentlemen, on, gentlemen, away. Oh, so you have come, Jessica. Let's move on now, gentlemen. Let's get going. Our masking mates by this time for a stay. Our masking friends who would like to be part of the mask, they must be waiting for us by now. Let's go and join them. Exit with Jessica and Salarino. So Lorenzo, Jessica, Salarino leave the scene. Now, who is left behind? Graciano is left behind. And just as these three are gone, enter Antonio. Antonio reaches the spot. Antonio says, who's there? Now remember, this is night, and in those days there were no street lights. This was long before electricity came into being. So Antonio from a distance can make out somebody standing in the street. So he says, who's there? And Graciano says, Signor Antonio, Mr. Antonio. Gives a loud response so that Antonio should know him. And Antonio says, Fie, Graciano. What a shame, Graciano. Shame, Graciano. Where are all the rest? Where are the rest of the friends? Now we move on to page 69. And then he says, 'tis 9 o'clock. Our friends all stay for you. No mass tonight. The wind is come about. So like it was said in the introduction, it's already 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. And all the friends are waiting. Where are the rest of you? I mean, I cannot see all of you together. And there will be no mass tonight because a favorable wind has started blowing. The wind has started blowing. Bassanio presently will go aboard. So, even before it is time, Bassanio will climb on board the ship which will leave for Belmont. So, Bassanio's journey to Belmont will begin because there is favorable wind blowing. So, in those days, there were no machines that operated the ships the ships had to depend on wind power and also on the oars. And so, since there is a favorable wind, Bassanio will set sail uh, before it is time. I have sent 20 out to seek for you. I have sent 20 people in different directions. I have sent several people, 20 men, to look for all my friends in different directions. Graciano says, I am glad on it. I desire no more delight than to be under sail and gone tonight. Oh, I am so glad to hear it, that the wind is favorable, because I don't have any other desire of any other kind of delight than to be under sail. I just want to sail out, because I also want to go to Belmont with Bassanio. So we already know that Bassanio has agreed to take Gratiano with him, and Gratiano feels happy to know that the wind is favorable. So he wants to go away that very night, and he's very happy to know from Antonio that the wind is favorable. So that is what he says. Saying this, both the friends Gratiano and Antonio leave the scene, and the scene comes to an end. The scene concludes with a rhyming couplet showing that the present action is concluded. The rhyming couplet is Shakespeare's drop curtain, you can say. So this is where the episode in Venice temporarily ends, because we are going to see what happens in Belmont once Bassanio reaches Belmont. So that is where we come to the end of this scene. Act 2, Scene 6 is thus concluded. What comes up next is Act 2, Scene 7. We are on page 69, where Act 2, Scene 6 ends and Act 2, Scene 7 begins. So in our next video tutorial, I'll be taking up and explaining Act 2, Scene 7. So I hope you have been able to understand this particular scene. Please go through this video carefully, and please replay the different areas where you feel you need to listen again, so that you understand each and every line. And please go through the side notes which are provided, because these are very informative and these will guide you to understand this particular scene better. So that's it. Thank you.